Hello again. Like many people, I view with apprehension and dismay the large numbers of Africans crossing the Mediterranean and landing in Europe. I tend to regard it as an unmitigated catastrophe for European civilization and culture. However, looked at in the long term, by which I mean the very long term, it may be a healthy phenomenon and could ultimately have the effect of revitalizing Europe. 60,000 years ago, Europe had a stable prehistoric culture, that of the Neanderthal. When Homo sapiens began flooding into the continent from Africa, it must have been a most disturbing time for the Neanderthals. But in the end, this invasion has given rise to our civilization, which consists of Homo sapiens with a dash of Neanderthal genes. Now we are facing a similar invasion, or population transfer, call it what you will. This time of what you might perhaps call the pure Homo sapiens, that is to say people who for the most part lack that few percent of Neanderthal DNA which we in Europe have. It is possible that this will after a few thousand years have the same beneficial effect that the original Homo sapien invasion had upon those in Europe. This might be a case of what is known as hybrid vigour. It could give rise to such a thing. To understand what the concept of hybrid vigour might have to do with modern humans and how it ties in with this idea, we need to ask what the term means. The correct name for the process by which offspring can have better traits than parents is heterosis. This has replaced the older word of heterozygosis, by the way. When a population of animals or plants is either very small or becomes inbred, it can suffer from what is known as inbreeding depression. It's long been observed that hybrid plants are healthier and more vigorous than pure strains, although more than one explanation has been advanced for why this should be so. Animals too benefit from various breeds being crossed. It is not inconceivable that we in Europe now are suffering from some sort of inbreeding depression of that sort, in that our particular version of Homo sapiens has been breeding with each other now for perhaps 50,000 years without very many outsiders coming in. It's altogether possible that an injection of new blood might do something good for the population of Europe. Perhaps it will in the end benefit from the influx of Homo sapiens who lack the Neanderthal DNA which we all possess. It is possible that just as the Neanderthal and early Homo sapiens bred together and became modern Europeans, something similar might happen with the huge influx of Africans now, and their descendants will prove to be stronger and more vigorous than either of the rootstocks. I do not say that this is so, merely that it is possible. I've written an essay on this subject on my Substack account and give a link to it in the description to this video. It's free to read and it sets out what I'm suggesting in some detail.